We're live.
Hi. Good to
Hi,
see you.
welcome, Marie. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. This is fun.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a shame we didn't get to do this in Venice, but
I know. Next time you come back.
yeah, exactly. Perfect. So yeah, you've been living. You're Marie, obviously.
Yes. My name is Marie.
Author.
Yes.
And a few other things. So let's start at the beginning. How did you find yourself in Italy? Did you sort of go there expecting to stay there, or?
No, absolutely
I think
not.
I know the answer, but
No, absolutely. In fact, you said I'm an author also. The story, the little bit of what I'm going to tell you now was inspiration for me to write my novel. So my novel is semi-autobiographic, but I came here on vacation. I lived in Los Angeles. I was born and raised in Southern California, and a girlfriend of mine and I, many years ago, it was 1985, we took our first trip to Europe, and Venice was one of our stops. The only reason it was one of our stops is because my roommate at the time had suggested, yeah, go to Venice, but don't spend more than 2 days there, kind of thing. And that's what we did. And when I arrived, we were arriving on our water taxi going to our hotel. We had already been through France and Switzerland. So this was mid-vacation, like a 3 or 4 week vacation. And we were arriving at our hotel, and our water taxi went by this gondola. And I looked at the gondolier. We were standing out. It was October, so the weather was still really nice. We were standing outside in the back of the water taxi, and I saw this really cute gondolier. We smiled at each other.
Yes, it was a cute gondola, and then you thought, oh, gondolier's not bad either.
Well, we literally passed each other, right? He was rowing, and our water taxi passed him. Then he went on his way. But anyhow, I snapped a photograph of him, and the next day I was walking through St. Mark's Square. He spotted me, and we started talking, and now we've been married. This should be 33 years. So yeah.
Congratulations.
So thank you. But I had no intention to move to Italy. I just had intention to come and visit Europe, my first vacation. But then of course I went back to Los Angeles, and 2 years later, I moved here, and that's when we got married. And I've been here since. So,
yes.
Yeah, a nice place to be.
Yeah. And any regrets living? Well, I mean, clearly not. 33 years is pretty impressive.
No regrets. No, it was difficult.
I mean, in terms of location, about deciding to move to Italy versus say, maybe your husband going to
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Well, we thought about that, and for a very brief period, we did that in the sense that he never left his job, but in the off season, he would come to Los Angeles, and I went back to work, not in the same. I worked for a bank, so not in the same bank, but in another bank. But then we decided that I had already changed. I'd been here for a year and a half or 2 years, I think, before we went back to give it a try again. And I just really like the lifestyle here. We had a little, our first daughter was born. And so I really felt like I wanted to spend time, more as a family. I didn't want to go back into that work in a corporate world and with a child. And it was very difficult for him too, because it was also in the early 90s. And when there was really bad economic challenges in the United States. So it was very difficult for him. And, being a gondolier, if that's what he wanted to do, this is the place that you're going to do that. Yeah. So we tried it. And I think it's good that we tried it, because we found out that this is really here in Italy is where we wanted to raise our family and where we are happy living. I've been able to go back and forth often. I'm almost once a year since the time I moved here. Yeah. So, yeah. So now there are no regrets at all. Actually, I think I did the right thing in the sense that even the most difficult steps along the way were useful for me, for growing too, for life, like learning things about yourself and about life in general.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just checking that we're actually live on where we should be. But not. Something looks strange. But
I have see a little window up here that says live and the time 5 minutes and 27 seconds.
Yeah, but I'm just checking on Facebook and we don't seem to be there, which is a bit odd. So I might just, if you want to tell us what you've been doing today, and I'll just go out for a minute, and then, or hang on, I'll just come out for a minute and.
Okay, I lost you. I guess I'll continue to talk. What did I do today? Oh, I've had a doctor's appointment. That was fun. Or maybe what I can do is I have my book here, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. I mean, some people may. This is my book, Beneath the Lion's Wings, a novel set in Venice, and it's available online, Amazon in paperback, ebook, and hardcover too. And I'm happy to say that it has gotten some very nice reviews too. So have a look for anyone who's interested, especially in this time around the world where we kind of need things to take our mind away from reality and travel. We can't travel a lot right now. It's very difficult. So this will bring you to Venice. I hate to say guarantee, but I think it'll make you really fall in love with Venice. If you aren't already in love with Venice, if you are in love with Venice, you will see yourself there again. So I think Ingrid is trying to find out whether or not we're live, zooming back and forth. We're having technical difficulties and or challenges, I should say.
Okay,
I was talking. I don't know who I was talking to, but I was talking.
Fantastic. We've got somebody arrived. So Denise has arrived.
Okay. So we're good. We're on. We're live.
So we can see comments in the comments. So that's fantastic. It looks like it's not going on to YouTube, but at least it's on Facebook now. So we're all good.
Okay. All right, good. So, when we were speaking, I was just talking a little bit about my book as you were off. I don't know if you could hear what I was saying or not.
No.
Oh, okay. So I just mentioned my book, and I shared my book with whomever, with our audience.
Yeah.
And you say, I do other things too. I'm also, there's another project that's really interesting. And I was asked to participate by writing an essay chapter of a book that is being edited right now. There are a group of about 25, I believe, or more writers and artists and so forth who have a strong tie to Venice. And the woman who's organizing this book, her name is Kathleen Gonzalez. And she did the first Spritz is Free a couple of years ago. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
Yeah, but this book that is, like I said, it's being edited right now. The title is Venice Rising, Acqua Grande, Pandemic Rebirth. So it's all about our experiences, those that lived through the terrible high tide in last November, and then getting through the winter, and then being hit by the pandemic. So that's something that's going to be coming out probably in the next couple months, I believe. And most of the funds are going to be donated to charities that have to do with Venice and helping Venice. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. So I have a chapter in that. I'm really excited to have been able to share my experience there. Yeah.
Yeah. Where will that be released?
Well, I think she's hoping August, September, fairly soon. I think she's hoping for this fall. So, and it'll be available in paperback. And then I believe what she likes to do, instead of doing an ebook, she does a PDF available. But the funds that are that she earns through the paperbacks then will be donated to charity here. She'll specify the charities when
Okay,
that's been
wonderful.
decided. Yeah. So I'll let you know about that too. Do more
Cool.
about that. Yeah.
And how did you find the publishing experience with writing? I mean, how long did it take you to write Beneath the Lion's Wings, and how long did it take you to find a publisher?
Okay. First, to write, I started writing it in 2009. Okay.
Yep.
And it was my first endeavor to write. So it took me a long time, and I worked with different editors to better it and better my writing, better the story. That took a number of years. Then also in the midst of that, there was a film producer who was interested in making, So I was really excited about that, but I was still working on the book. And that was a roller coaster with this person for 3 years. It went up and down and up and down. And then in the end, it didn't happen for reasons that I won't, I don't have to delve into here. But he said it had nothing to do.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. He said it had nothing to do with the manuscript. And I think it was maybe where he was in his life at this time. So, but someone who's made some very well-known films. So that was wonderful, but that gave me a lot of confidence in my storytelling abilities.
Definitely.
But it also slowed down the process because, he would show up and then disappear like every 3 months or so. He would come around. And so actually it was a bit of a relief when he decided to back away completely, because then I could just go ahead and write my book and get that done. And so when I did that, when I finished it, I queried and I queried and I queried. And it is a real, especially from here, querying in the United States, or less so in the UK, a little bit here in Italy, but most literary agents here want Italian, it's written in English. So they want Italian language books. And at the end, I self-published. And to tell you the truth, I'm very happy I did that. Perhaps if I were a younger woman starting out, it would have been more important for me to be traditionally published. But this way I have control of the book and the cover and the content and the earnings. I don't have to share that with a publishing house or anything. I also have to do a lot of the marketing too, which I was, happy to. I like to do that, but it does take a lot of time. So that's the story. And I'm working on very slowly, too slowly, another novel.
It takes time. It takes time. I don't feel so bad. I've got like, I don't know, 4 or 5 novels that I've started.
Different files.
And they're all sort of about the 30,000 words mark. And, life happens, and sometimes they talk to you and sometimes they don't. So
it's so true. It's so true. Well, I think it's the joy of writing, because I really like to write. And when I sit down and I write, the entire world around me disappears. So that's hard too. That is really very hard. I can sit at my computer and work for hours, and I stand up and my back is hurting. It's like, because I just need to get away from it. And it's hard for me to get my head in and out of that.
And it's hard for people around you to understand that you're in the zone and you're just doing your thing, because they're just being, and that. But when it's coming out, you kind of need to be there for it as well.
I'm really lucky. My husband is really supportive, but there are a lot of times when I'm writing, I like hold my hand and go, wait, no, don't talk to me right now, because I've got to get this. And he's very understanding and very supportive. So, but what I do have, I can share the title. Well, it's a working title of my next novel. What I will share, it is set in Sicily, because Sicily is another part of my life too.
A new chapter, sort of.
A new chapter, and the working title is The Vine Dresser's Daughter. So that's my working title at this point, and it's set in Sicily. And that's all I'm going to say for now. But
okay,
yeah,
excellent.
And Sicily. You may know why in Sicily we bought a small home in a hillside town in Sambuca di Sicilia. And we've been restoring it, but that had to stop too, along with a lot of things that have stopped in the world in the last few months. But we'll be getting to that. We'll be going back to that again once things take shape here in Venice, because my husband works with tourism, and tourism is quite stagnant, if not like 90% less, literally 90% less than last year. So the house is there, and we're excited about it. And that's another creative project I have too. You know, we've got the book, and then I've got the house, and so nice things, wonderful things, all inspired by Italy. Yeah.
Wonderful. And with your self-publishing, did you use a particular platform, or?
I'm sorry?
With the self-publishing, did you use a particular platform for that, or?
I self-published through Create Space, through Amazon.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I did that, and then I decided that I wanted to Amazon. At least when I published 2 years ago. So, and I think it's the same way now. They publish paperback and ebook, but I wanted my book available in hardcover, hardback, because I also wanted it to be available in bookstores. So I went through Ingram Spark for that. So it was, juggling two different areas. Okay. And I learned a lot, but it takes a lot of work too. It's a book that's over 400 pages, so it's quite expensive to print in hardcover. So the cost is higher. So if we want to talk about, probably the most sold are ebook, because it's so easy and it's more economical for the buyer, for the readers, and so forth too.
And ecological.
And it's very ecological, absolutely. I love real books, but I also read on my iPad with Kindle, and I also like the idea because as I don't know, I want to talk about, as people get older, it's harder to read some of the print. You get I don't read as much if I'm reading on a paper print. So
yeah. I know I'm really particular when I buy a book. I have to look at the font, and the feel of the page. I'm really a bit ridiculous about it, but it's like, if I look at a book and I don't like, I always read a piece, but it's like, if I don't like for some reason the print is really sort of, I don't know, messy or something, some fonts are just sort of
too busy.
I can't buy the book. It's like, I'm not going to read that.
It's not relaxing. In fact, fortunately, that's what we were able to do. We were able to choose the different fonts and that kind of thing. So I was conscious of that also, to make something a relaxing read. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I've used Smashwords to publish some short stories, which is quite good as a e-publishing platform.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. I would expect my next novel, The Vine Dresser's Daughter, I will just publish ebook and paperback. I won't go with hardcover, because it's costly to publish them. It really is. And they're not sold as many sold. It's not even close to like I said before, the ebook, or it's just not what people want now. So it's not what the market's asking for. So
with Smashwords, it goes to all the major retailers. So it goes on to, I don't know, Kobo, Apple, Barnes and Noble, the whole gamut, which is quite good.
In the ebook.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I'll have to look into that too when I'm at the point of wanting to publish the next novel. Yeah.
No, it's quite interesting, and you can do promotions and all sorts of things. And then you can also do separately on Amazon if you want to. But it does go on to Amazon via there, but I'm not too sure how.
How? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It depends on your format and whether it's picked up, but usually they are. So
they're compatible. Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely an interesting industry.
Well, I've learned a lot doing it from learning about writing and finding out I can put a sentence or two together, and then finding out how to set it up and do the cover. I had assistants, obviously. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, it was a nice experience to be able to learn something new like that.
Definitely. Yeah. And to get your voice as well, I think, to find your style, because you also had a blog. I started a blog while I was just beginning to write, and that's kind of has been pushed to the side. And then I was doing some writing also for, like, in Huffington Post when they were having people who would send articles in, and so they approved me to send various articles in and get. So that was really good for the writing too. The blog and that. I made a lot of mistakes on my blog, and so you learn like that also. And now now with my author page, I also have a blog that's tied to my author page, but I do short blogs, and a lot of those things have to do with my house restoration in Sicily. So that's like, again, it's kind of stopped for a little while, and other things that might have to do with this book or Italy or Venice and so forth. So yeah, if you keep yourself out there to keep people interested, I'm sure you get the same thing. I have lots of people over the years that have asked me, we're coming to Venice, I'm going to Rome, and suggestions. And so finally I just said, okay, I'm going to write this all down. And I also talked about all those files of books to have done. I actually have one that is kind of like Marie's favorites, choices, and so forth. But that is a different type of writing, and it's very time consuming. It's very time consuming. And so, that's another project there too, that in the meantime, I've just posted, for instance, Venice, my suggestions on Venice on my blog, and sent it out to the people that follow me. And if they want to use that, they can. Hopefully they'll be able to utilize it next year. So. Yeah, exactly. Denise has a question. She's asking, she said, we're still asked. Can you see the questions on the comments?
No, let me, I see private chat. Let me click the.
Not the private chat, I think up on comments, the top.
It is, yes. We are still isolating the US. What are you feeling post-pandemic there in Venice? Is it feeling like PTSD? Hi, Denise. Denise is wonderful. She's from Haddon Fortnightly Women's Club in New Jersey, and they were so gracious. They organized a book presentation for me, and there was a beautiful crowd there, probably about 70 people. It was really nice. It was really nice. So Denise is wonderful. Yes, I know you're isolating in the United States. And please, Denise would understand this. I know she's a very wise woman. Mask wearing and social distancing is all you can do, really.
Exactly.
So people, please do that. It's frustrating from here because we went through this, and seeing our loved ones and people in the United States, that not those people, but others around them, the masses that just are not paying attention. So, and it's interesting, Denise, that you asked me that, because just today I was speaking to my daughter, my youngest, Rebecca, and mentioned the PTSD, and not only with COVID, but remember in Venice, we went through the terrible high tide in November. I mean, we literally we were knocked down on our knees in November, and this whole winter, people canceled there for the winter, for Christmas. Very few people came, talking about tourist industry, and so many people do depend on that here. And then things were just getting back, when my husband went back to work for a few days during Carnival, and then bam, closed again. So this is also, it's economical, it's emotional, it's moral. There's so much involved. And so, yes, I think yes, I have certain personal symptoms that I might want to attribute. I mean, like, stomach pains and that kind of stuff, they're kind of really ridiculous. But yeah, I think we're not there yet, though, because I think that until we get out completely to the other side, and until we see that there's a possibility for a vaccine or something like that.
Exactly.
I think the world is going to be going through a little or more or a lot of PTSD. Yeah. So,
or at least sort of a generalized anxiety, I think. I mean,
absolutely.
I've sort of felt that anxiety at different times. I know I spent about 100 days in the Austrian Alps all by myself, and at times it was like, okay, I've got to have like a grappa at 4 p.m. because I'm feel agitated. And
you froze on me for a second.
Yeah, and when you can't, you don't see
I got
anybody. There's nobody to smile or wave, or it's quite a bizarre feeling. So,
especially if you were alone. I had my husband was here. I didn't leave the house. He did the marketing, and I would go and take walks, and then they blocked us to 200 meters from our house. And then it felt like neighbors were watching you. You weren't even supposed to, if you weren't walking the dog, you weren't supposed to be out. So, it's been tough.
Yeah.
And it's going to be difficult. I keep an eye on the numbers every day. I know we don't want to talk too much about this, but, keep my eyes on the numbers. I think like so many other people. So we make sure that we don't fall back into that again. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I know some people are sort of like, oh, it's just too much in the news, but I think as soon as it's not in the news, people are going to slack off and think, oh well, we're good now, but it's not the case. I mean, there's still people dying every day, so
too many.
Yeah. Definitely. But I know here in the Abruzzo, I mean, our cases go up and down, but it's only like 1 or I think 6 is about the most I've seen go up for a day.
That's good.
Yes. So most people in the villages, they're all masking and distancing, and I think some places they're getting a bit slack, but I mean, on the whole, the majority are doing the right thing.
Yeah, here too, there's some people when you go into Venice and they're a little, you're outside. Inside, no, absolutely. People are keeping that I've seen. The cases that we've had, our number of cases have been going up in the last few days, every single day. And I don't want to quote the number today because I don't remember, but it was between 40 and 50, I believe.
Yes, I did see yesterday.
Yeah, which is a little bit alarming, but they're being attributed to people who were returning to Italy, workers. They were here, have jobs and so, but they were outside the EU, and they're traveling, but they've pretty much pinpointed most of them, so they're being able to contact trace them, and as long as they can do that, hopefully we can keep that number down.
I think one group too that I read was a wedding party.
You mean here in Veneto?
I'm not sure which. It might have been Milan. I'm not sure. I looked up.
Those kinds of things, yes, are very
Because of course, people can actually celebrate things now. It's difficult when you've got that sort of trying to strike that balance, and you've got that hot weather, and you've got the itchy mask over your nose.
Yeah, absolutely. And wanting to give each other a hug, but it's like maybe it's better if you don't, and so forth.
Yeah. I saw a fabulous video the other day of everybody entering the EU Parliament, and they're all elbow bumping.
That was great. I really like that too. I mean, there you go. Those are the leaders. That's what we need. None of this.
Yeah.
Be realistic. Yeah. And the last thing I'm going to say on so Denise is saying, so glad you come through. Okay, you were in our thoughts. We'll look for the Venice Rising book and can't wait for the Sicily book this week. Thank you, Denise. Thank you. One last thing I'll say about this. I really was very, very proud and pleased at how the Italian population really reacted to this. I mean, everybody was very serious. And the leadership, regardless of political party, the leadership overall, almost overall, but here in Veneto and at the national level, they worked together really serious about getting a handle on this. So I think that's why we are where we are today. Hopefully, again,
Yeah.
let's keep it there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And are you heading down to Sicily soon, or do you have a plan to?
Well,
What's happening with your next
well,
project?
well, we talked to a couple of weeks ago. We talked to our architects, who are actually our neighbors in Sicily, and they have other things that they're working on. And right now, we need to. We had planned. We had our flights and hotels booked and everything in March, and we had to cancel that trip. And that was to go down, do more restoration, and give more, direction, and talk more about that. So right now we're going to, I don't know if we'll go down in the fall. We'll definitely want to see what happens. I don't really want to get on an airplane right now yet, even just an hour airplane. And also, this is something I don't know if people who are watching will be interested. Maybe you heard about this because you restored a home. The government is talking about the eco bonus I don't know if you've heard about this eco bonus, which is good for second homes too. They're giving tax rebates for restoration when you up the quality of energy efficiency in the homes. And so that means even your external windows, your stuccoing, your capotto, your insulation, and water heaters and so forth. And so that is something's really nice. We're really happy to hear that, because we'll be able to utilize that. They're getting to the details now, but it looks like it's passed Parliament, and that's going to help a lot of people, because you can also do it, on any home, as long as you have to upgrade your the energy efficiency. I think 2 degrees. I think that's what it is. 2 degrees. And which will be easy for us because we're doing everything. We're, the house, we're doing everything. And like, there's no problem with going up for 2 years. Everything's gonna be done. Yeah. We won't be able to do solar panels because it's a small, narrow house. We don't have the roof top, but the other thing. So we're looking into that. So that will be that's very important for us to decide to see how we can do that. And so when we can get started on the house again. But I don't really expect that we'll start doing a whole lot before next year. Again, we have to see what happens economically for our family personally, because of tourism and so forth. Yeah. So one day at a time, 1 month at a time.
Exactly. Nothing sort of happens overnight in Italy with restorations and things. And I sort of found that when I had delays with my place, I sort of changed some of my ideas about how I wanted to use the space and that sort of thing. So sometimes these delays aren't really such a big deal in the scheme of things. The big thing that was a little bit frustrating was it took nearly 12 months to get the permissions in place from here. But that was 2.5 years after the L'Aquila earthquake. But they were still inundated with all the permissions that everybody else wanted to get things rebuilt and all those sorts of things. So it was kind of understandable and all that, but it was just like, and then of course once it did come through, then we had the summer holidays. So it was like, well, nothing's going to happen for another 3 months.
Forget August. I think maybe this August people will be working because they haven't worked for the rest of the year. So I think that they will be going forward at least in from what I understand in Sambuca, because there are a lot of homes that are being restored there now. Or the majority of those people that bought, from what I know, were from outside of Italy. The 1 year homes. Well, ours was not a 1 year home, but that's what drew us down there. And a lot of those people live outside of Italy or outside of the EU. Not all, there are a lot of other Europeans that bought homes down there now. So that makes it a little more difficult for them to come and to seguire, follow the work and so forth. So Yeah.
And I wonder
And
how
then
that'll work with the caveats they've had on their properties as well as to, because I think
yeah,
most of them have a time frame as
3 years. Yeah. I would think, I don't know. I would think that they would permit those people that purchased the homes at that bid, that started at the €1 bid. I would imagine they would give them time, because pretty much, we've lost at least 3 months of work this year, at least 3 months there.
That's really in a way. But,
And, right. And especially if someone's coming from the United States, they can't get here now anyhow. So
no.
yeah, the city, I met the mayor and vice mayor, or the deputy mayor, very nice people. In fact, they have they're organizing to have more homes at €2 bid now.
Oh, okay.
No more 1 year, 2 year.
Double or
But I think they
nothing.
have another, yeah, double the value. So they have some more. They have more homes that they want to put out to bid, and I will probably see that sometime this year.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Oh. And so if people want to look you up, where do they buy your book, and
And find
can they follow you somewhere?
they can follow me. Yeah, I have a website. It's my name, Marie Ohanesian Nardin, author.com, or it's probably easy. They can find my book on Amazon. And so if they go to Amazon and they find my book, and from there they can find me. They can find the links that go, or just Google my name, because that would probably be the easiest. But yes, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and my book is available on Amazon. And yeah, so that's where they can find me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'll update all that as well on my
Okay.
page, and also I'll do a wee blog post as well regarding our chat today, so that'll be good.
Okay, wonderful. Good. This has been fun. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else has anything. It's a nice chat.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else who's watching has any questions, I guess, any comments or something. I don't know.
I think Denise is our.
I don't know what our chat is like.
Yeah. It looks like.
Okay. I don't know what our time is like. Are we close? We have 40 minutes and a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I mean we can hold off. That's all good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really, really nice.
Really fun. And you'll share this on. You'll share this on.
Share it, and for those that missed out beginning bit because I messed up, it'll all be together.
It'll all be in
the right place. But.
In fact, my husband texted me early, right before we went live. He texted, said, because he's at work and he doesn't use Facebook anyhow. So he said, can I watch it otherwise? But so we'll get him to see this too. He'll be happy to watch it.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay. All right, Ingrid. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Un abbraccio.
Yeah.
Ciao, ciao. Bye, everyone. Ciao. Ciao, ciao. Let's see how we can get out of here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave studio.
Whoever's in the room stays in the room. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.